Okay, so another video. This will be my last video. I have been removed from most social media platforms. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not, I don't know, but it gives me time to reflect and channel my energy into something totally different. I'm a recovering addict, 6 years clean, and have been fighting tussle for the past 6 years for the return of my son. I have pretty much tried every avenue. I have protested, I have screamed for TDs, counsellors, the whole lot. I've tried everything. It has taken its toll. It's like going around in a vicious circle and kind of getting nowhere. And the part people don't understand is that it has a detrimental effect on the family unit. You know, it is time consuming, and there is a point in your life you kind of have to slow down a little and kind of see what's important in your life. I'm in the middle of a legal battle. I will never give up fighting. I have to try figure out a different way of doing it. I have tried to help people along on this journey. I have tried so hard to reach out to people, and the reality is people are broken. This is a fight not for the faint-hearted. Unfortunately, some people are that broken they've turned to medication, or they have committed suicide, and all of the above. You know, some people have been that sexually abused that they have no longer a fight left in them. The reason I'm doing this video is because we know mainstream media are controlled by the elite, but I do believe there is some good journalists inside there. It's trying to filter out who the good ones and who the bad ones are, and I do understand that their hands are tied, because if you speak about Tussle, the Child and Family Agency here in Ireland, and if you identify a child by me, if there is a hefty fine of €50,000 and the papers will be sued. So it just goes to show that the narrative that the mainstream media are pushing is their own agenda, you know, and they control pretty much what's written and how history will end up. You know, we have no opposition here in Ireland, you know. Our only platform here is social media. So I'm asking anybody out there, excuse me for coughing, I'm asking anybody out there who has any contacts with any radio stations, with any journalists, with anybody who has emails. I've been all morning sending emails to the Star, to the Journal, to the independent papers, and I'm looking to get my story out onto the mainstream media. The reason for this is not for notoriety or publicity. It is for to expose what's happening here in Ireland, because nothing has changed. There's children today living in placements where there's addiction, where there's sexual abuse, and as Ireland, we know, would rather shove it under the carpet, you know, and our government don't want any of this getting out due to having to pay a substantial amount of money to people if it gets through the court system. Most people will jump off at a certain point, because the stress and the toll of it would literally shatter a human soul. I've learned a lot on this journey. I've met amazing people. I've had my days when I've cried. I've had my days when I had so much go in me that I had forgotten about reality and life, you know. I know in these trying times people are struggling, like we all are, mentally, physically, emotionally, and we're trying to put one foot in step in front of the other, you know. What comes with speaking out is slander, abuse, and once a person can cross those hurdles, and there's not many people can, but when they do, you find a new freedom in yourself. You find a strength in you that you never knew you had. And when you have your flesh and blood being left out there and being owned by a state, it's one of the hardest things you have to cope with. So I channel my energy into looking for a solution. I do believe, and I still say today, that there is good people out there. It's just aligning yourself with these people. So I'm asking the public if they could take the time, maybe under this video, to send a few links to any journalists they have met on their journey that would know that would be willing to push some boundaries and to get not just my story but thousands others out onto the mainstream media. I'm not saying it's going to be the be all and end all, but I do believe that people need to be aware of Tusla. They need to be aware of the abuse that's been done to both grandparents, mothers, fathers, children. These are absolute savages who have no consideration whatsoever. And I know there's so much going on in the world at the moment. I know that mental health is a big issue for people. I know that people are struggling in their daily lives of basic things of getting up in the morning, and we can all identify with that, you know. And for some reason the human spirit keeps going and keeps fighting, you know. So I'm looking to hopefully get it out onto the mainstream. I'm a firm believer, if you don't ask, you don't get. There's times here I've spoke up on social media and I have looked back on things and I've said, oh my God, how naive I was and how stupid I was. I had criticised myself over a 6-year period. I have cried. So I have to take a back seat, and hopefully somebody out there has some information that can guide me and help me to get my son home. I believe if my son comes home, it will open a door for many others. It will give them the strength. And who knows what's down along the line for people, you know. Like I said, it has a detrimental effect on the human soul. You have to, at times, have a serious chat with yourself. So where I'm at the moment is that I have to look after number one at the moment. I thought at one point I could save the world. I thought that maybe somebody out there could help. I didn't realise the corruption here in Ireland. But I do believe that if people can't see the abuse that's done on a child, and like the 70-year-old woman who was sexually violated in a care home, and when people can abort a fetus, it says a lot about us as humans, as people. I know we all have our different views, but where's our morals? Where's our principles? I have tried gathered groups together, as many others have. I have at one point thought that maybe unity could help with Ireland, and I came to the conclusion that that Ireland can't unite. Ego plays a massive part in people's lives. I recovered from heroin 6 years ago. On the 10th of February I'll be 6 years clean. complete abstinence. I was programmed to check my ego, to check my surroundings, to look inwardly and to admit when I'm wrong and all those good things in life, and it has helped me. And I've come across leaders out there who have egos so big that you couldn't even begin to imagine that they couldn't separate the person from the ego, you know. It's like when I got up to speak out, I was judged for how I looked and how I sounded and all of the above, but some people are able to hear the message and to leave judgment at the door. I'm not desperate looking for journalism. I'm not pleading anymore. I have rang Primetime. I have rang so many places. I do know their hands are tied. Some people will say, well, you're at nothing putting it onto the mainstream. But when you look up onto Twitter and Facebook, all those words that people write, all that information that we've learned, it gets to a point that action is needed behind it. You can write forever. You can be the most educated person writing, and you can write so many things, but at the end of the day, there's action needs to be applied behind it, because a government here today doesn't need to change anything, because we're not fighting, basically. What we're doing is we're fighting with each other, and we're distracted by the narrative, the spin that the mainstream media put out to the people. It's like entertainment. Some people buy into it, some people don't. And I think people are on different education, an educational mindset, as I was, you know, that some are run by fear, some are like to follow the money, some are after just a certain person, with the likes of Hazel Chew, and some people hate Houlihan, and, you know, and it's trying to gather a group of people to come together with their values and their principles and their knowledge, and I have yet to see it, you know. Unity is a big one for me, because as I came into this 6 years ago, I believe, and I believe still today, that unity is the answer, to push your differences aside, political views aside, to stand as one, together, and to make some noise. I do believe that. I do also believe that Ireland needs a leader who is not after money, a leader who has morals and principles, who is grounded in his thinking or her thinking, and who can help the Irish people. I don't know. But this is my last video. Again, I have served 6 times in prison for out of pure frustration, out of pure hurt. I had, the first time I had been to prison, I was hit with a long-term care order for my son, and I was through into the Dorcas Centre for 7 days. And within those 7 days, I found it very, very hard to accept. How could a system, for somebody that has woken up from heroin, who survived a complete abstinence, how could a system do that to somebody? And I wasn't long finding out that our government do not give two fucks about us. So I've learned a lot. I've learned that there is licorice, all sorts of people out there. There's people out there who have severe mental health due to coming through a system, either the care system or either big pharma medication, who have pumped absolute crap into people, and have left them absolutely zonked out of this world, you know, and all for profit. to try explain to somebody, I'm not even trying to explain to somebody, but to see people downtown with masks and, you know, it's absolutely crazy. I'm over the mask thing. I've never worn a mask. I've been travelling the length and breadth of Ireland still today. I don't highlight it anymore. I'm a free woman. I believe as well that we could also travel if we wanted to, because if the rich can do it, if Micheál Martin is able to go over to America to the organization of Biden, how can he do that? How can he do that? So I believe people know people who can get paperwork done, like anything. Like when a system is there, we're able to work the system. It's called streetwise. So I believe fear is the biggest tool. Your mainstream media, who's pushing this fear into people, is absolutely horrific. Right down to your elderly, who have actually only 4 stations on their TV, who cannot hug their own family. And we allow it. We have to take accountability for our part. I know Joe Ducey is holding a protest on the 17th on St. Patrick's Day outside RTE. I know that the yellow vests are given out because they don't want to unite. I know there's some people don't want to unite and they don't want to stand beside somebody that maybe said something wrong about them. And it's like being back in the schoolyard. And then you have the elite few who can rise above that, who are able to see the bigger picture. Again, you don't have to be politically minded, but you can have that compassion for your elderly or for your children. And we've seen on RTE fake news, elderly with a shield over them hugging their grandchildren. Like, when you think about it, it's actually like looking at a B movie or in the Twilight Zone. It's absolutely horrific. You know, you have the Irish Freedom Party, Herman Kelly, coming in, throwing his tuppenny bit in, fighting because people want to deregister because of the Constitution, the 1922 Constitution, whereas I know Sandra Giltrap is trying to push that, and I think if you can get 51% of the votes. So it's another angle to, I'm not too much into it, but I'm kind of learning as I go, but to get the people to come together, I think this is what all this is about. And we have the mainstream media then distracting us with crap and Gardaí dancing, and if some people tune into that, you know, my motto is I wish I was good at maths years ago, because I would be following the money. I would be looking for following the money, and then unfortunately Ireland is not held accountable for any of their mistakes at all, and the Irish will let it slide. You know, they do say that it takes a nation to stand up together for any change, and that's what it's going to take. You know, for thousands of us to get out someday, either St. Patrick's Day or whatever. And props to the people who are going to be there, that are able to stand there and push judgment and principles aside and stand there for that cause. You know, I believe Gemma Doherty is ahead of her time. I believe Gemma Doherty is pushing her boundaries, as many others, Dolores Cahill, Dee Wall, great strong women standing up, and no matter where they come from or what agenda they have or how they speak or what they believe in, at the end of the day they're fighting, and they haven't stopped fighting, you know. Some people can come in and fight and they'll run off for a couple of months and then they'll come back in, and it doesn't work like that, you know. But my main goal is to hopefully get this out onto the mainstream media, to get my son home safe, as I'm in a legal battle at the moment, due to screaming and shouting. So I'm very fortunate. I've tried to help people as best I can. I've done all I can. I can only carry myself at this point because it has taken its toll mentally, physically and emotionally on my body. Thank God for AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, who's given me a 12-step program to evaluate myself, to do an inventory on myself in the night, to be able to check my flaws, my defects, to keep my ego in check, and to reach out and help other people. You know, my days now are for myself today. I'm the type of person who might feel guilty about that sometimes, but I've helped and tried to help a lot of people out there. Some just can't cross that line, you know. They can't cross that line, and so I hope this message gets out to a few people. I hope a few people out there would be able to put a few links of good journalists. It'd save me going through a list of journalists. It will take me months, whereas I know if there's people out there, might know somebody out there, or might know somebody might be interested in this case. Again, it's not for notoriety, it's to make people aware of what's happening here in Ireland. Nothing has changed. Children are being ripped from parents' arms, fathers are being destroyed, and the court system are trafficking the children through the courts. As hard as that is to believe, that's a fact. I had Colin Daly, Judge Colin Daly, who is now being promoted to the Circuit Court. And when you see somebody like that being promoted, he's good at his job. You know, solicitors, barristers, they're going to have to be held accountable for the thousands they've made off of the pain of others. Some people go into a court setting absolutely devastated. They don't understand the dialogue or the what's happening, and there is no supports. The children are left then into a system and into a care system who are absolutely ravished. I'll finish at this. I was only talking to a girl a while ago that her children are now being moved for the 4th time. This woman has recovered mentally. She suffered with mental health issues due to abuse of her partner. Is doing amazing, doing great work, and there's no acknowledgement of progress from social workers, and the very same in my case. I've received information as well on my case, which is going to be very difficult. There's a lot of new information coming out that I didn't know. And what people don't understand is that when you're going through a legal battle, that there's stuff you're going to hear that will knock the wind out of you. So you have to be very strong. At this point I'm able to just sit back, focus on the paperwork, focus on myself, focus back on my family, and try to heal from that 6 years that I've been fighting out there, you know. Again, I'm going to finish. If people can put links under this, I would really, really appreciate it. To any journalists that they think that could help. Any radio stations that I'd be willing to travel around the country and speak as honest as I can. Again, I'm not politically minded and I'm not well versed in statistics and facts, but I can speak when I need to speak. So any radio stations, any journalists, anybody out there that's willing to help, I would really appreciate if you could put some links under here. And I wish you all the best. I hope you're all doing okay out there. It's tough going, but when the people rise, then the change will happen, I think. So have a good one. Thank you.